fuck did I just do? Ignore that. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the OSRS community, gamers, whatever the fuck you identify as in this particular situation, welcome. Today you are going to be blessed with my sacred knowledge upon this game, and specifically with my opinion regarding the new skills being proposed by Jagex for the, what's it called, the new skill? I don't know. It's a new skill that's being proposed. That's the gist of it. Why am I moving around like I have got fucking, like I've just been hopped up on cocaine? So, I'm thinking about doing this for a, well, I haven't really been, I've been thinking about doing this for a while, and actually that's not true. Truth of the matter is, I woke up today, I looked into my watch later list because I was bored in bed and I didn't want to get out of bed to go do any work today. Realized that I put in there a video, which was the old school RuneScape team's proposal on the new skill. Was like, oh fuck, I haven't really thought about this yet. Opened it up, played about 10 seconds of it, and said, you know what would be really cool if I make a video about my live reaction to this, which I've never done before. So I decided to do that. And that's what's happening today. Now you might be wondering, why the hell should you listen to this fucking schmuck on the other side of the camera? Good question. Number one, I've been playing this game since 2013. Actually, it goes back even further. I've been playing this game since 2005. Not old school RuneScape, but, you know, the older RuneScape. I'm playing this game for a very fucking long time. I've been all through all the ups, the downs of both RuneScape 3 and this game. Actually, I haven't played RuneScape 3 since this game came out. When this game came out in I think my account was made in 2013, but it could have been made in 2015. I don't remember exactly. Anyways, I've been playing old school RuneScape for quite a long time. And during that time, you would think I've done a lot. The answer to that is, I've done a decent amount, but not as much as for someone who has had as much game time as I've had should have. Does that make it? What the fuck did I just say? I think I had a stroke. The point is, I played the game for a decent amount of time. I have a decent amount of experience. So I have a bit of knowledge regarding the game. I'm 97 days of playtime, and a combat level of 110, which is, and a total level of 1,907, which doesn't really boast a lot for my credibility as a player. Want to know what I was doing that time, and I can be honest with you, I have no fucking clue why it took me so long, considering that some people beat this game in 34 days of playtime. That being said, I still think that it'd be interesting to give my opinion on this topic. I think it'd be nice to get a variety of opinions about how a new skill would feel, how it would affect different players at different parts of the game. I feel like I'm starting to get nearer to the end game of this after getting to Bofa like yesterday. I feel like now it's like I'm starting to get closer to the end game of this game. So I've been doing a lot of that stuff, and so I'm starting to get a better idea of like how the game works. Maybe high level players will just think I'm a fucking idiot. I don't really care. Fuck off. My point is that I think I have a general knowledge of many of the things inside this game. I think I could answer accurately or think about the nature of how a new skill would impact the game in some way, which I think would be interesting. And at the end of the day, I just have my unique perspective. So whatever. That being said, I'm going to introduce you to me watching the videos. I did that. The clips are going to get a little brighter because I did that earlier in the day. I recorded an intro then, but it fucking sucked. Not like this one's much better, but, you know, at least somewhat more passable than some of the weird fucking things I was saying earlier. But, yeah, so I'm going to send you over to earlier Tight Pants and see what you think about him. He's got some good ideas, but, you know, go easy on him, I guess. Thanks. Let's go.
Hey everyone!
I'm probably gonna watch this video first and then read the post after, because usually it goes a little more in detail. But alright, let's go.
Hey, I'm Modelena, and I'm here to tell you about a pitch that every player who loves animals has been waiting for. Have you ever wandered around Gillianor and looked at a strong bear or a cunning wolf and wished it could help you on your adventures?
Not
or
once.
Perhaps you've simply
I've never once thought about it. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I mean, okay, I'm not trying to come out to be a dick here. I mean, well, I guess I am a little coming off a dick. I'm sorry. No, I've done a little bit of reviewing of these concepts and seeing what people have been saying on the Reddit. I've been trying to avoid it because I'm like, I remember reading them and going, you know what, I should kind of save it all because I'm sure I can come up with some interesting ideas while I'm independently. And I'd like to come up with my own conclusions on it before I just see what they say and come to my own conclusion rather than just going off what everybody else is saying. But But it seems like the general consensus is that everybody ranks taming as probably the worst one. I'm really curious to see where they go with this. The inevitable thought that I have immediately out the gate is that they have to do everything they can to prove this isn't summoning 2.0. That's like the number one thing. Every old school player is having fucking Vietnam War flashbacks to going like, oh no, I need to have a fucking pack yak for everything now. Which kind of was boring. It just, I don't know. I thought the summoning skill was kind of a bit weird, but I think that they're Jagex is usually, especially the old school RuneScape team, they're not stupid. They're actually they're very, very competent developers in my opinion, and they are conscious of the fact that they're going to address it, that this isn't summoning. They're going to have to in some way. But yeah, let's go.
Wanted to care for a cuddly little chinchompa instead of using it as an explosive projectile to destroy your enemies.
It's not to be a dick. I genuinely have never thought about this, but that's also like why they're the developers and I'm not, because I'm not that creative. I can critique it and give my opinion and give you no potential feedback for how they could improve it because I'm an asshole. I'm just gonna critique it. That's it.
Maybe now you can do just that. So settle down, grab a blanket, and listen to our most wholesome skill pitch yet.
1 second. Alright, I'm ready. Got my blanket ready. It's actually like, like fucking 73 in the house I'm in right now, so I'm boiling. But you know what? I'm gonna do it for the video. They asked me to, so. I mean, I can't properly review it if I don't do everything they're asking for, so.
Taming. Taming is a utility skill, all about discovering new and existing creatures around the world, and taming them into friendly companions. If you earn their trust and take care of them, in return, they'll aid you on your adventures. You can utilize their unique
I'm sorry I'm being like a
abilities to
teacher
interact
leaving my
with the
fucking
world
mouse in the
in
middle of the
entirely
screen.
new ways, and deepen your bond with your animal companions by training and leveling them up to make their abilities even stronger.
It's not a bad idea, actually. Like, can I be honest with you? So here's my insane take. I know a lot of people didn't like summoning in RuneScape 3, and I'm kind of a bit out of my depth because I didn't train summoning that much when I was playing RuneScape 3 a while back. I didn't really get very far in RuneScape 3. But from my understanding, a lot of the criticism regarding hatred of summoning was that it was very awkward to train. They didn't like the summoning point system, and then simultaneously, like, it almost just exclusively devolved into using pack yaks and like just beasts of burdens. Like, all the other pets were just not worthwhile for most things, and you kind of just like people had to train. It just was awkward. I think that was the general criticism regarding summoning. Which, yeah, I mean, but that being said, does that mean the idea has no potential merit? I mean, it depends what options they provide. It depends what the creatures provide. If they provide useful things, that could be really cool. If they provide really useful things that aren't game-breaking and aren't like, completely game-breaking without them, then that'd be cool. I think that's one of the nice things. If RuneScape does things in a very, like, good additive way, where if you don't have the skill, you still can play the game pretty effectively without it, but with it, it really helps out, that'd be nice. That's kind of my view. But we'll see.
First, let's address the elephant in the room. This is not summoning. For those of you who remember the skill in RuneScape, the similarities only go as far as having a companion which can aid you with various different types of content across the game. While summoning's gameplay loop behaved like a mix of rune crafting and Slayer, and
why are you talking shit about rune crafting? Actually, you want to know the crazy thing about me? I'll show you right now. Guess which skill I have 99 in RuneScape? It's the only skill I have 99 in old school RuneScape. I'm fishing, of course, because why would I waste XP? Rune crafting. And it's not even that. I'm almost like level 101 in it. Why? Because I'm a fucking psycho. Purely, I mean, like, yeah, call me a psycho. I don't care. It's the first skill I got to 99. It was so easy with blood runes. I don't care. It was so easy. I made so much money off of it. No problem. It was so easy to train once you got to level 6. Everyone just complains too much. It's such an easy skill to get to 99. And I did it to kind of prove that okay, I don't know why I'm going off about this. I'm not trying. It's just that's just an ego flex. And yeah, you know what it is. It is an ego flex. Suck it.
Taming will instead bring the long-term bond between you and your companions to the forefront with an involved taming process.
I don't like that.
Taming will require study and knowledge of creatures and their
Well,
behaviors,
maybe I do.
provide an in-depth animal care and well-being system, and even the capability to level up your companion as you help teach them new abilities.
Okay, this could be good or bad. Being 100% honest, there's nothing I hate more. Actually, let's explain this. If you ever play like a JRPG where you go around to level up and like level up your other companions, I shit you not, 90% of the way I play that game, I level up one character to like some absurd level, and the other ones are just fucking lackeys, or if they die in combat, so what? Who cares? Like, that's kind of the way I play those games. I don't enjoy having to appropriately allocate stats across a bunch of different things. It might be okay here if you just like summon something, and that thing that you summon is like, or whatever, you tame something, sorry. You tame it. And you keep it around you. You don't really have to focus too much on it. That would be okay to me. And leveling up is kind of cool, and leveling up a single individual thing. But it's a very fine line. I do not like min-maxing companions that much. I find that shit to be very boring to me. I don't know why I do. I'll probably get over it in this game and learn the system, no matter what. But I just can't be... I don't know. We'll see. It depends how they do it, really.
Each and every creature will be unique, from the abilities it possesses, to the food it likes, or even the type of environment it wants to live and work in. Each creature has its own quirks, habits, and desires, just like real pets.
I think making stuff complex is a double-edged sword. It's you strike that line between cool and tedious. like let's say hypothetically the crocodile or whatever is like, or desert lizard is like the best thing you can get, but only works in the desert. I would just be annoyed more than anything else. Like, I don't fucking care. Like, oh yeah, it's cool. Like it's got I don't know, region locking things to where their utility is just seems like a very easy way for me to just hate parts of the skill and to just be annoyed with parts of it. I get the concept, but I just know the way players are going to play. They're going to want to be able to bring their pets to different areas of the game, or their tamed creatures to different areas of the game. A second question that comes up: how does this interfere with pets existing pets? Like, let's say you have like I have the rune crafting pet. Like, is that pet like is it going to be able to follow me as well, or I have to give it up to have the tamed one? If that's the case, it's really stupid. It's kind of like the same thing that sucks with the way that we currently have like skill capes in this game. There's very little reason to wear a skill cape in this game. You like never wear it. The only time you wear it is purely when you want to be inefficient. I mean, okay, that's not true. Sorry. There are some particular situations where wearing a skill cape is actually a good idea, but most of the time you're playing this game. Actually, speaking of that, I should put my skill cape on, the rune crafting cape on. But yeah, most of the time you are playing this game, there's very little reason to use a skill cape, like to wear a skill cape around, like unless you want to like use if you're going to use range, and you're going to be wearing, you want to wear your crafting cape so you can have a quick bank. It's like, it's nice to have the crafting cape in your bank, but like, are you going to wear it? No, you're not going to wear the crafting cape. It's got horrible stats on it, so that's kind of a bummer. Like, it's a nice thing, yeah, but like. So like, yeah, it's kind of sucks in this game in general. The general trend of you can't show off cosmetic things that you've accomplished or gotten very well because it's inefficient, and it's really frustrating. I wish you could.
As a result, taming has a lot of potential to interact with other skills. Learning to prepare the perfect food, crafting the perfect toy, or even constructing the perfect house for them to live in. Once you've tamed your companion, the fastest way to train it will be by testing its mettle at dedicated taming activities around the world. Some companions may find joy in running specific obstacle courses. Others may find the sense of danger thrilling and would want to navigate elaborate mazes and traverse dangerous dungeons.
Yeah, look, there's pros and cons to this. Like I think it can be a cool skill, but how do I say this? Nothing is more boring to me as a player. You know what parts of the game suck the most? Is when you have your cat fight the Hellrat behemoths underneath Evil Dave's house to get the spices. That shit's boring. It's not very fun. You just kind of sit there and stare at the screen and hope to God your guy does more damage. I really hope whatever encounters they plan for these things are not like that, where I'm just praying it works. I don't feel like I engage with the game enough that way. If it's like you have to make decisions that will benefit you and stuff like that, quick times, that could be cool. But I don't know. There's some level of like lore where it just feels kind of bad that I'm watching something else play the game for me. It doesn't feel as like this creature. I don't know. I don't take much enjoyment out of that. I know some people do. That's why Pokemon is so popular. I mean, maybe I'm exaggerating, but the truth of the matter is that I don't really like games like Pokemon that much. So that's a pretty boring, which I know makes me a bit of a hypocrite, or not a hypocrite, sorry, but a bit insane. I mean, I'm not really doing much to prove that I actually have I'm a sane person. I have a 90. My first 99 was runecrafting, and my only 99 currently in the game. But I don't like Pokemon that much. Great. Doing a lot to boost my credibility. But anyways, the point is, yeah, I don't think it's. I don't know. It depends how they like. Ultimately, I know it's kind of useless for me to just say it depends how they do it. It's not looking great in my opinion. The things that they're saying, it doesn't really look that appealing. I feel like there's a lot of cool concepts you could do. Like as I'm thinking about it, you could do some pretty interesting things. Like you could alter alternative transportation methods around the world, right? Alternative teleport methods. Which, by the way, a quick thing for everybody. Some people will argue that having multiple teleport methods is just not really worthwhile because we already have ones that get you around the world. I think it's a really kind of not really well thought out criticism. The true answer I think it's a fucking stupid criticism. But I'm not going to say that. I don't want to be mean. You can develop just by virtue of having teleports. What's it called? Just by virtue of having multiple teleports to the same space, that different teleport options, which give you access to different sets of teleport locations, is useful because some players might go for those things first rather than other things. I know that sounds kind of confusing. For instance, to get to Piscarelius, you can use the Book of the Dead, or whatever the other book is. What's it called? The one that's not the Book of the Dead, but the one gives you only get selected. It's the one before you get the Book of the Dead. You can get that one. You can take the one from Remington, I think, or Port Sarim. I don't remember exactly. You could take the Lovaking minecart network. That get you kind of close. Some are better than others, but they all get you to Piscarelius at different rates. The question becomes, like, which one do you want? Well, like, the question is, like, all these have different requirements to get to. This one's pretty easy to get. This one's it's not super hard to get. This one is not super hard to get, but takes a little bit of time to get. Like, there are so many options for ways to get here, and you have multiple to get to the same location. But there's different unlock requirements to do it. And secondly, if you unlock the Lovaking minecart network, it only gives, let's just say you only get it somehow. I forgot the exact way you get it. Don't you have to like literally do all the quests? No, I don't think you do. I think you just have to run around and do them all. Let's say you get the Lovaking minecart network. And you get it. The set of areas you can get to with just that network is limited. Right? But it gives you a bunch of different places. You could have, hypothetically, like, let's say in Taming, a whale that you unlock that you can ride, or like a Lapras or some shit that you can ride, that it teleports you gives you a bunch of different teleports around the game. Like, let's say it teleports you to different beaches in the game, right? And just by virtue that it happens to have a section of it teleports to different locations randomly. Like, it might teleport to locations where there already is an existing teleport to that location. But the difference is that this one gives you a separate set of teleports that you can unlock. And maybe as a player, you might be deciding, you know what, this set of teleports is for however you're playing your game or your account or the way your account's progressing. You just say, this set of teleports is really, really, like, good for my account, my build. If that's the case, like, there's no big deal. Like, some people are just like, oh, why do I want to teleport to, like, fucking... or not teleport. Why do I want to move to Mudskipper Point when I can already just fairy ring there? It's like, because this requires you to unlock fairy rings, which might be too difficult. There might be like a level 30 taming option that allows you to teleport to Mudskipper Point, Catherby, Port Khazard, and Witch Haven. There might be one that does that. And you might say that level 30 unlock, for me, train the skill, is more desirable, more enjoyable than fairy rings. And so in this case, I find those teleports, that collection of teleports, to be valuable to me. So I'm going to go for the skill that way. Like, it's good for the, like, by the end of the game of the account, it might even be useful for like certain things. For certain types of things, you might only find that you need a set selection of certain teleports. And to go for the fairy ring, you need to bring like your RD robes or quest cape or ectophile or slayer ring, and then a slayer staff or sorry, a Draymond staff or a lunar staff. And like some people will find that just having the companion pet out is another option that is more valuable to them. It really depends. There's nothing wrong with offering the same things as other content in the game. It doesn't have to be always unique content. It just has to be the selection of what it offers is unique and useful. So that's my opinion about this. But anyways, I'm kind of going on about this feature. So I think it can be useful. And there's a couple of concepts you could just at the top of my head I'm thinking about what you could do with taming. You could have something that provides passive stat boost. That's like probably the easiest option. Maybe a creature that offers recoil damage. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe something that gives you like an extra chance to get double resources, which typically I'd be against, but because skilling is kind of a dog shit way to go about like gathering skills in particular, because gathering skills are already fucking dog shit in how much they offer you, like just truthfully speaking, woodcutting is fucking slow as shit when it comes to sorry, I just saw that funny in the game. Anyways, woodcutting is slow as shit when it comes to acquiring logs. Like is there better ways to acquire logs? I don't think so. But like fishing, for instance, like fishing sharks is really fucking slow. Like it's really bad. Like, and I think before it was better to just fight Zora to get stuff. Isn't that crazy? Like to get resources like that. I think they've modified it now. That skilling I think is the best way to get a particular type of resource. But if you want to get like a distribution of resources, there just isn't a lot of reason to do some skilling. It just doesn't really seem that valuable. You get so many resources just playing the game, fighting bosses, that there's very little reason to just get them yourself. So in the traditional ways. So that's kind of something that's really disheartening, but I think they could do cool stuff. Anyways, I've been talking for 20 minutes, and I've watched 2 minutes of the video. We got to speed this up.
Some may just want the cozy bonding time from playing good old fetch. Now, let's talk about why you'd want to tame a companion. The biggest benefit to doing so is gaining access to all of the things that companions can do which you cannot. Fangs, fins, gills, wings. These are all attributes that companions can have. A well-trained companion can utilize some of these to help you by unlocking access to new areas or helping with existing content.
Okay.
As a reward from the skill, taming would naturally provide access to a whole series of content updates that only the most dedicated of tamers can handle. Lastly, here's what will happen if you vote for taming to advance to the refinement stage. The biggest unknown for us is what kind of perks you'd like to see and how strong they should be. How involved would you like to be in caring for your companion's needs?
Not very.
How do existing pets fit alongside the system? We want to explore how,
yeah,
if
exactly.
at all,
Those two things
you'd
are
like
big.
for these
like
companions
existing
to
pets
work.
is a big deal for me, and then the second one is I don't want to have to care too much for them. I mean, that's kind of a crazy thing. I kind of really just want to unlock the taming thing. Maybe I'd be okay with training that single pet a bit, but like after then, I don't want to be fucking. I don't want to have to be min-max. I don't want to have to. I don't like constant upkeep. Like items that drain. That shit's boring as fuck. I find that stuff so boring. So this is okay.
Work in combat. We'd also like to work with you all to decide what kinds of content should be included in the release, such as pet sanctuaries where you store companions, a creature catalog for documenting information, what training activities you'd like your companions to have, player versus player creature fights, or even a companion-only boss encounter or raid. The possibilities really are endless. Do you want to add some quality of life features to existing content? Or are you looking to find the goodest boy and take care of him? Or do you simply want to try your hand at taming them all? If so, in the upcoming poll, vote yes to taming.
I'm not voting yes to taming because I don't want RuneScape Pokemon. That shit's boring to me. That I know that makes me a fucking crazy person. I don't care. I just don't care for Pokemon stuff. Like it's just one of those things where it's like if it was added to the game, I wouldn't be bummed out. I would train it. I think I'd find use in it, but I could not be fucked in some of the things. Yeah, depends on how they train it. I mean, like, I'd be okay with it if it was done a certain way. If it was done and it's not super Pokemon-y, I could be okay with it. I don't want fucking companion battles. That stuff's really boring to me. A companion-only raid sounds kind of silly, but could be kind of funny. But at the same time, it's just like, I don't know. Do I want to go through the whole work of training a whole set? Like I like having my character and then the companions be additional and supportive to my character. I don't want to have essentially a second watered down version of my character. That to me is just not very enjoyable. You know, I just don't find that very fun. Because at that point, it's like, what game am I playing? Am I playing my character or am I playing both? It's just, yeah, that's my opinion. I spend so little effort. I have no interest in upgrading my companions that much. So it's just, this is a personal take. Not everybody has that take. Some people do like that type of stuff, and that's okay. But it's just not for me.
Hey, I'm Mod Husky, and today I'm going to talk to you about our most surprising skill pitch. A skill pitch that none of you have seen coming and is sure to catch the community by surprise.
Talk about sailing?
This is a skill that will allow you to meticulously travel parts of Gielinor that you are currently unable to access, to explore new and exciting content across the game world,
It's
and
sailing.
learn to overcome one of the greatest forces of nature in the world. Of course, you all know what this pitch is by now. Let's talk about sailing. Join us on this adventure.
Isn't it so funny how it memed its way into existence? Isn't that crazy? Like, some asshole in, like, RuneScape 3, or exactly then it was RuneScape 2, posted a meme video about, like, oh, there's a new skill being released, it's sailing, and and then there's been memes about it ever since. And now it's, like, dead ass being pitched as, like, a real life. It literally memed its way into existence. People just made jokes about it being a skill, and now it's, like, actually a possibility. That's fucking hilarious to me. Jesus Christ.
And acquire a ship to take to the seas. Master the art of sailing and explore the world in a brand new way, setting foot on new islands and traversing hazardous waters, storms, and sea monster attacks. Whether you're an adventurer uncovering new places to explore, a fisherman catching fish only available far out at sea, or a pirate venturing into dangerous waters looking to sink every ship in sight to plunder treasure, or even a courier looking to move goods from A to B, for a price, of course.
The thing that's interesting about sailing that's really is like it actually, like, I know it's kind of a meme, but the reason why it's stuck around is because it actually seems like it has staying power. Like, it fits into the world pretty well. It seems obvious. Like, why wouldn't sailing be in the game? Right? Like, that's one thing about it that I think is really wait, do I have to wear a blanket for this one? Actually, you know what? I was going to take off the blanket because I was like, oh, it's going to get hot, but I was going to do it for just a bit, but I'm actually kind of enjoying that she told me to put it on because I actually do. I do like it right now. Anyways, the point was, I don't know how I feel. I think sailing's not a bad idea. I think it fits into the lore of the world pretty well. That's the one thing I really, really like about sailing. Like, just from the outset. Like, I feel like from a concept perspective, from a concept perspective, I think that it fits remarkably well in the world. As a skill. It feels like it could be an old school thing. Maybe that's because I've been like brainwashed into thinking it can because of all the fucking memes. That's very possible, but I don't even care. It just feels like it belongs in the game now. And now, from my understanding, it seems like sailing is it's competing with shamanism for being the most popular. Taming seems to be the least popular right now. Taming, I do think, has potential. I think it does. Despite the people's hatred, some people's dislike for it, from what I've seen. But it seems like it has potential. Like, my general thoughts on it is I think that I could legitimately see it being a valuable asset to this game, depending on how they implement it. But they really have to change in my opinion, it's not what's appealing to me about this game. I don't play this game to do the whole cutesy, take care of animal stuff. That's just not what I enjoy in games. I've never liked games like that. I don't like games where I spend a lot of effort focusing on companions. Some people do. Nothing wrong with that. It's just not what I want for the game, personally. I find that stuff to be pretty boring. And I like that RuneScape is very individualistic in that way, where you focus on your character and progressing your character, who is essentially an extension of you, not something else which is not you. I don't... It sounds so stupid, but at the end of the day, these are just preferences, right? And a preference is, you can't really debate preferences too well. You can debate people's claims about a preference, about whether it's like whether their preference makes any sense, or if like the things that they're saying about their preference make sense, but you can't ultimately debate whether someone likes or doesn't like something at the end of the day just by feeling alone, which I think that feeling is it's not really enjoyable to me.
Sailing has something to offer for everyone looking to spend their time out at sea. So acquire a vessel, set forth, and experience Gillinor from a fresh and salty new perspective. Jokes aside though, this has been the most suggested skill pitch from the community, and one you have all been the most vocal about wanting in some form or another. Now, to you veterans of the community, you've been here before. The old school team pitched sailing as the first new skill back in 2015.
Yeah, what's the difference?
But let's make
now?
it abundantly clear that this is not the same skill it was back then. It's been revamped, remastered, and re-envisioned, thanks to input from various pillars of the community, and also your responses in the survey. Let's take a
Is this just going to be a copy of what Bodhi suggested in the video? Let's be fucking honest. Pillars of the community. Maybe I'm being a little... Maybe because I think they have a creator Discord, right? So that they probably talked to the creators about it. But like, if this is just going to be a fucking copy and paste of Bodhi's idea, I'm probably just going to like vote no instantly. Actually, okay, let me speak. I don't think Bodhi's idea is bad. I thought it was a good idea overall for sailing. I thought it was a pretty solid take. Now that I think about it, I don't even remember much on Buddy's take. Oh fuck, why am I even talking? Okay, whatever. Let's just listen to it.
and dive into how sailing can work in old school RuneScape. First up, you'll have to make your way to a port and acquire a ship, whether it be a standard ship, a Viking longboat, or even a dwarven steamboat.
Cool.
The method of acquisition is up to you. Whether you buy one, borrow one, steal one, or build one for yourself. Once you have a ship, you can navigate the seas and undertake a variety of activities, either self-imposed or...
I do like the idea that you can steal one. The problem I have is that, like, that's a thing you do one time. Like, what's the consequences to stealing one?
Directed from various NPCs at port. This is how we envision the bulk of XP being awarded. You could search
Wait.
for
Hold on. Sorry.
yourself. Once you have a ship, you can navigate the seas and undertake a variety of activities, either self-imposed or directed from various NPCs at port. This is how we envision the bulk of XP being awarded. You could search for an elusive sea monster, seek out the best places to acquire rare fish, undertake a series of sailing time trials, or simply bask in the unrivaled thrill of sea exploration.
This is really going to depend upon the way that you navigate boats. If it's going to be like sprinting around the world, I think it's fine. Well, you guys probably all heard that. Anyways. If it's going to be like... I don't know. Like, I like the concept. When I try to envision the idea of how it would be introduced into RuneScape, it just feels awkward. Like, I don't know how you would make a ship work. Like, would it be like your character sails a boat by clicking and your boat moves in that direction? I think what would feel more natural would be that your boat continuously goes in a direction, click to rotate it, and run into things, because I think that would make it more complicated. But I don't like the idea of clicking to turn the angle. It's awkward. I don't know how. That's the problem. I don't know how it would work. And so then I think that the next logical answer is that you just start on port and say, okay, I'd like to go out to sea, see if I can find anything. And then like the screen cuts to black, and then you have an animation of your boat going across the screen or some shit. And then it's like sometimes randomly you'll encounter something, and sometimes you'll just go to the other place and be like, you didn't encounter anything on the way there. But that would just be really fucking boring. Do you know what I mean? That would just be really, really boring. So I don't know. It's going to depend really on how the navigation works and how they plan to do these things. Like, oh, you're going to encounter these monsters. How are you going to encounter them? Like, that to me is a big deal for how the way it's trained. Is it going to be you randomly teleport to a new location, or go from port to port to port? You just consistently chain between two different ports over and over again to level up your skill? That seems to be a bit boring to me. But then again, at the same time, we have things like agility and pickpocketing, which are literally just like fucking. I'm not clicking the mouse because I don't want to fuck up my screen, but just this for about 3 hours, or fletching, where if you get on an iPad you go like this, you know, like so like am I really? Is it really fair for me to be like? It needs to be done the best way possible, the most enjoyable way. It's not fair, I think. Like, I mean, like, realistically, half the skills in the game are boring as shit to train. So, like, wouldn't it not be that big of a deal if it is just, like, you click and then from one port to another, and then all of a sudden, like, a black screen transitions, but then a new like, oh, you just happen to turn into a sea monster. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know. The other option, to me, is that you have this weird navigation thing where you're swimming, where your boat's in the water, and then there's, like, anomalies that you can investigate, and there's a chance that there's a sea monster, and then you know that between particular routes there's a higher rate of having a higher level monster or something you have to deal with, like a kraken. You can get like tridents or something, or upgrades to your trident, which would be really cool. I think there's cool concepts you can do with it. Let's just see.
With the sailing skill release, our goal is to really make it feel like a fully fledged sea expansion, which functions as its own biome with a whole bunch of new, interesting, and dynamic content, and not just the copy-pasted sea texture that it currently is. If this has whet your appetites for the high seas, next I'd like to talk about what you can expect should you vote for sailing.
We haven't even gotten to it yet. Wow, I'm interested.
First and foremost is navigation at sea. We definitely want to be more ambitious than the Bon Voyage quest, and there are a number of possibilities we could go with.
Yeah.
From click to move, WASD keys, or setting your direction on interface, or perhaps something else entirely. Additionally, how large or small should the ships be? Are you the ship, or are you on a ship? And what level of customization should a ship have? Whether it's for flexing your sailing achievements, or improving your ship's performance. And of course, what activities would you like to do at sea? We've had a load of ideas to connect sailing with other skills just by asking, how would this work at sea? What could you farm? What could you fish? What could you slay? What could you hunt? Could clues work at sea?
I think sailing's like the best option. Just period. I think it works so well in the world. Like from a conceptual standpoint, it's a huge expansion. Like you can do so much with it. And if you don't want to do it, I think that's fine. Like I think it's not going to fuck over your account, right? It just feels very natural to the world. Like you have this whole area of the game that just isn't touched. And in a way, it feels, I don't know, it just feels very old schooly, the vibe to it, you know? I like it a lot. Like, taming is cool and all. I think people are giving too much shit to tame. I think there's a couple of cool things you can do, but I don't know. Taming seems like a cool concept and it could be a skill. But I think sailing just offers so much. That's just, you can do so much with the sea and the ocean. You could do diving with it and stuff like that too. Like your character does, like it's like their diving apparatus and goes underneath random areas, and maybe there's like interesting resources that you can trade for something, or maybe you just get there's just ruined rocks under the water or something that you can mine, or some coral that you can then manufacture to create potions or something. Like I don't know. There's a whole bunch of concepts that you can do for sailing. You can have naval yeah, it's a huge expansion. The one problem I would have with sailing is it's all jam-packed into one skill. There's a lot in there. A lot of stuff. And I don't know how comfortable I feel with that much content locked behind. Well, let me think for a second. Like, what skill has the most activities in it currently? What do we say? Combat? Combat doesn't really feel fair. Like, there's a lot of content that would come with this that seems nuts. And I don't know how I would feel with that much content being locked behind one skill, because then it's going to become, like, instrumental to level it up. Well, I don't know, because there's so much other stuff. Like, here's my crazy thought. It would make a lot of sense that we have, how many skills in this game? We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8. 7 times 3 is 21, right? Plus 2, 23 skills. Right? Yeah, 23 skills. This game. 24th skill. The problem we run into is that shouldn't each skill take up 1/24th of all the content of the game? Like, if you want it to be equitable. Obviously, that's not what happens. The vast majority of stuff is taken up by combat. Right? This sounds like it can be fucking massive. It's not going to be 1/24th the game. Is that okay with people? I don't know. I think that sailing might be... Depends how they do it, right? If they make it feel like it's mandatory and there's like all this different shit you can do, then yeah. Depends how the extent of the interactions. If the interactions are going to be like the extent of something like a temple trekking complexity, right? Like you got an instance and you have to do that, then that would feel very old schooly. It would feel extremely old schooly if the sailing encounters were kind of like temple trekking in that sense, because it's like those are kind of limited, isolated encounters and there's not very much depth to them. That could be like that. It could be like something like that. Like that could be like old schooly in terms of the vibe. But you can fish stuff with sailing. I don't know. Maybe that's not that big of a deal. Now that I think that you can do fishing, you can do fighting, you can do maybe even Slayer. Probably you can do farming. You know what? Now that I think about it, I think it's fine. Because like every skill is like that. The skills are so integrated in this game. To make a fucking amethyst weapons or amethyst ranged weapons, you need to have crafting and mining and fletching. To make crystal armor, you need to have smithing and crafting. I think it's fine. And now that I think about it more, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it's okay. Because like I was thinking, there's a lot of integration, but like we already have lots of integration of skills working together anyways. That's no big deal. And like those activities are relatively small in what they are. Like, am I sounding fucking insane? Am I making sense here? Psychotic? Am I sounding psychotic? Like, there's activities in the game that utilize a bunch of different skills to work together to do something, right? So you have... Fuck, how do I think about this? Fuck, now I'm trying to think. Yeah, like you have combat and farming put together with like Hespori, for instance, right? You have another boss, like what's the Volcano. You have these skills or these mini games, these activities, which integrate a bunch of different skills and their abilities together to create content. That's really cool. But each skill offers a lot of those. Like a lot of skills offer a lot of those different things with a lot of crossing. Like barbarian fishing combines cooking, fishing, as well as strength and agility all in one, right? Aerial fishing I think is similar. Maybe I'm wrong about aerial fishing. I don't remember exactly. All these things are cool, and so there's not a lot of reason in my mind to negate a skill because it has too much content relative to the other skills when it's integrating all the content with the other skills. I think that's fine to me. Because essentially, although the skills that method is primarily a sailing method, it's primarily a feature of sailing. It also trains the other skills. I don't know. I think as I'm thinking about it more, I don't think it really matters that much that there's that type of stuff. If a lot of the content of sailing, like there's a lot of content sailing, but there's a lot of integration with other skills, I think it's fine.
Number of possibilities is an exciting prospect. Whether you're an explorer, a sailor, a mercenary, a pirate, or a simple merchant, sailing has something to offer for everyone, so hop on board and let us know in the upcoming poll if you'd like to take to the seas by voting yes to sailing.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do with it, and it feels so natural in the game. I really like the idea.
Hi, I'm Mod Light, and I'm excited to talk to you about our wildest skill pitch. This is a combination skill with both a gathering and production element to bring you something new, mysterious, and exciting.
Yeah, I heard about this skill pitch, and I was really intrigued, because it's very different than anything I've ever heard before. It seems completely out of left field.
Get ready for shamanism. With shamanism...
One thing, I hate the name. That's my one thing. I don't like the name at all. I don't know why. Maybe it will probably make sense, but just it sounds so random for RuneScape. Can I be honest with you? It does not sound very old schooly. It sounds very like a lot of these skills, and you can hate me whatever you wish. Or am I? No, never mind. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. Anyways, my point is, these skills feel very centered around a like. Anything I say is gonna sound fucking stupid because there's some counterexample to it, but they feel set in like a more realistic setting, even though we have magic and rune crafting. I know it sounds stupid. I'm not like it sounds like in a particular type of like, I don't know. There's a feel to it. Fuck it. I guess we're in the we can talk about this. It's like there's a neural network in my head that has to predict which things sound or feel old schooly to me from just the concept and lore alone. Shamanism doesn't to me. I don't know why. Whatever combination of neurons in my head just does not sit here and say, on the surface, I literally haven't even watched the damn thing. I'm fucking it. I didn't even watch the damn thing. Let me watch it
You
first.
can study the mysterious power of nature and unlock the ability to perform rituals by gathering resources from nature and tapping into the spirit realm to infuse them, producing
Fucking tree huggers.
powerful items
I'm joking.
like
I'm
tiki,
I'm joking.
totems, and poultices, in addition to enhancing your own equipment.
It just like there's nothing wrong with this. It just feels very bizarre. Like that's all. But that's not a bad thing. Like it could be really cool. Like runecrafting feels weird. Don't get me wrong, but I think they made it work. Like the whole like it's the scholar scientist skill, and then like simultaneously, it's like, well, magic was already done in the game with runes, so it makes sense to add a skill that would be about creating them. Like that's not a very strange concept to people. Shamanism feels very like out of left field, which I'm not 100% against. It's just that it's not my immediately, it's not beaten sailing in my mind yet.
Through mastering shamanism, you unlock your third eye and gain access to the spirit realm.
I don't like this. Look, a lot of people in RuneScape are fucking do a lot of drugs already and play this game, and I don't like drugs very much. And is gonna endorse their. This is all the stoners are gonna fucking vote for this skill. Fucking hell. I'm coming off way too on blast. There's nothing wrong. If you like drugs, go ahead and do drugs as long as you do them responsibly and safely. But some of you don't. So fuck you. I'm being too aggressive. I apologize. Yeah, I don't know. It's just not for me. I'm not really into this type of stuff.
Of the game to explore where you can commune with spirits. In the gathering part of shamanism, you'll collect two different kinds of resources, spiritual and natural. Natural resources come in two forms. Some resources you can forage across Gielinor, such as mushrooms, roots, bark, and leaves. Others can be harvested directly from creatures using a carving knife, such as taking bone marrow from a giant, the blood of a hellhound, or the spleen from a giant frog. Spiritual resources are harvested from the spirit realm. You can track down disturbed sites where the connection to the spirit realm is the strongest, and then reap the rewards. We know from your feedback.
Okay, that's what this symbol is. I literally thought it was a person with heart eyes looking at a spirit and not looking at Lady of the Lake, and I'm like, this guy is actually thirsting. Alright, my mistake.
That you didn't want to see another viable production skill. And that's exactly why we've looked to incorporate gathering directly into shamanism. Our intention is to make the majority of resources that you gather untradeable. This ensures a more interesting and exciting gameplay.
Do I like that concept? There's pros and cons. There's pros and cons to that. I think that is this the Iron Man skill? Was this just made for? Is this the Iron Man skill? Just be honest with me. Some skills I don't like getting all these materials myself. I just find that shit very boring. I don't like farming very much in this game. I think it's really boring. I don't really like doing dailies. I just do whatever I want to do. But like I don't mind things like construction or crafting that much. Like they're not fun skills, but the rewards are pretty awesome, but they're fast to train. the idea that we have to gather all the materials ourselves, that's not a bad thing per se, but that seems like something that I would say should be restricted to exclusively Iron Man and not main accounts. Like, I feel like I should be able to buy bone marrow from everything, or buy bones myself, and then I can carve them out myself to do it. Like, that's okay with me. But I don't know. I would personally get annoyed if, let's say you're like a level 3 skiller and you're basically fucked because you have to go out and like fight. You can train shamanism, but in a very slow way, because you can only get things like from bark or whatever, and making like level 3 like fucking you bark tea, which by the way I know is poisonous. That's the joke. Like, yeah, that would not be enjoyable to me. Like, that would be, and you only get like 10k. Like, that would be fucking stupid. I think that would be like, from the general, okay, fucking stupid's pretty harsh, but like in the general way the game is played, I just don't think that would be a very good idea. I think that doing it in such a way where that you can get all this stuff if you're a main account would be much better in my opinion. I know some people might hate that, but I think it's not a bad idea. So I'm not in favor of that concept already, that aspect of it.
Then simply buying the resources from the Grand Exchange and then standing at a bank to train the skill. Now,
Yeah, but like I don't mind that. Like maybe that's the crazy take that I have, but like I don't think there's anything wrong with it. If you want to play the game that way, what's the fucking problem? I just don't. It's a lose-lose. Unless you want to make the argument that players always desire to play things in an efficient way, and therefore, like, if you allow, but regardless if it's fun or not, therefore, if you give them an option to play the game and like the most efficient way to play it is to bank stand, and then they get pissed off because it's like not a very enjoyable way to do it. Like, I don't know. In a certain way, like I guess I can kind of buy that argument, but it sounds very condescending that you're treating players that they have no agency. Which, look, I'll fully endorse. Gamers are fucking stupid. If you treat gamers like they're children, I think you sometimes make a better product. It is true. They will optimize the fun out of the games for themselves. Players will complain about doing shit the most optimal way and be like, oh, the game's fucking boring. It's like, well, yeah, you play the game in a way that is like min-maxing basically everything, and like you're getting annoyed with it. So, I don't know. I can be sensitive to the opinion that, maybe you do need to design it so that people have to go get their own resources. But personally, on the surface, I don't care too much about bank standing. I'm pointing to myself, but you can't see it. I don't mind it that much. Some people hate it, and that's okay, but it shouldn't be that you are forced to not do it. If you don't like it, don't do it, should be my answer. Would be my answer. And the only argument against it is, like I said, where, oh, well, we have to coddle players by forcing them to not have to do that so they can enjoy the game. Because if we don't, and we offer them an option that's like, if you have the option between playing the game in this way, where you have to go get your own resources and do your own thing to get the XP, but we offer you a 1k faster option 1k per hour faster option, but you're going to have to sit in a bank and do it, players will pick the 1k option, but then they'll be pissy about it. It's like, look, that's their fucking choice at the end of the day, right? In my opinion, that's their choice. Like, I don't see why you are negating that option to allow people to just do it that way. It's just very bizarre to me. I don't know why you would do that and hold it as if it's like a big deal. Like, to me, it's just not, it's just very, like, look, I'm going to say, I think it's a little bit like, you're treating players like they can't decide what they wish to do. I'm projecting so much. The truth is, it's like, do whatever you want. I would prefer if, like if the skill, it's almost like if they never brought that up, I probably would have been okay with that. You know what I mean? It's purely because, like, we're making this a selling point that I'm like, this is stupid. You know? That's kind of my opinion. I was thinking, isn't that, like, what's the difference between that and taming versus that? Well, it's like the whole point of the skill is to go out and do things. Like, that's the point of sailing, right? Rewards are always going to be secondary. Like, yeah, but, like, this is, like, if it's a production skill, that the primary way you're going to be training this is by not engaging in the content, but by creating something. What's the fucking problem in and allowing it to be a bank thing. I just don't see a problem with that at all whatsoever. I think it's like a detriment to it that we're not doing that.
Let's move on to production. Once you've gathered the natural and spiritual resources required, you'll have to perform a ritual to infuse the natural resources with the spiritual ones. To do so, you'll need to create and use a ritual circle. These can be drawn in most outdoor areas.
Full Metal Alchemist
The products
vibes.
of shamanism could include tikis, poultices, oils, incenses, idols, relics, totems, a collection of quirky magical utility items, and even enhancements to your existing equipment.
How does this tie into the lore of the game? I don't see how it does. Can I be honest with you? I don't see how it ties into the lore of the game very well. Like, there isn't like a druidic... It's like you're going to be adding in a whole bunch of stuff to do this. It's not. But at the same time, is that a negation of it? No, I don't think so. I think sailing fits in very... I'm pretty pro sailing right now. Sailing and taming fit in pretty good. That being said, this has a lot of potential. I think there's a lot of options for this. A lot of options. Like, for utility and buffing your existing gear. And there's a lot of future options. Sailing is going to be like its own set of content. It's going to be for training skills. Which, by the way, I'm not against. I like that idea. I think that something like this, I'm not as in favor of. I think buffing gear with like oils or buffing gear with like oils or rituals and adding these like ritual protections is cool and all, but there's some pros. I think there's some pros to this that I really like. But in general, I am more so of the opinion that this is a little not old schooly enough for me. Doesn't really fit in to like the world. And I don't know. Well, I don't like that some of the things that they're saying about it. Like the bank thing is just really silly to me. That stuff, but like, here's my opinion. Those are kind of minor things. Like, if they actually, okay, let me think. If they legitimately got rid of the bank sending feature, would I like? I think I would probably start to really dislike this skill now that I think about it. The second thing I'm thinking is like upgrading gear and stuff like that. I don't think upgrading gear is bad. I think upgrading gear with like the oils and the ritual circles, that shit's fine. I think that stuff's fine. The problem I have. Do they even have a problem with that stuff? No, I think it's fine that you can upgrade gear. I think it's okay. I don't mind it. I don't mind that aspect at all. I think there's a lot of potential there. True. There's a lot of potential there for upgrading stuff, which I think is really nice. Yeah, that's one of the benefits. There's a lot of potential for it.
You
Let's
may
see
be
where it goes.
wondering how the spirit realm comes into this and what you could do there. For us, it's this twist that sets shamanism apart from other skills. The
Okay.
spirit realm is an alternate reality where spirits live and is the source of a shaman's power. Disturbed sites are closely linked to the spirit realm, and experienced shamans can use their understanding of the two to move freely between them. As your shamanism level increases, you'll be able to access deeper parts of the spirit realm, and who knows what you'll find inside. Now, let's wrap things up by talking about what's next for shamanism. If approved for refinement, we want to discuss with the community how shamanism can enhance existing equipment. It's a huge draw of the skill, but we need to know what you think. Should enhancements be permanent or temporary? Should they be visible to
can
other
do both.
players? What
Yeah,
can you
you should.
enhance? How many enhancements should there be, and what kinds of benefits should they provide? We'd also like to talk about the
Is it kind of crazy that I think if you just renamed a skill to ritualism, it'd actually be like, I'd like it more? It's just that it's such a simple, stupid change. I feel like in my mind, I don't know why it makes it sound 10 times better. If you just call it ritualism, I'd be more in favor of the skill.
specifics of the gathering side of the skill.
I think because it feels more, just truthfully speaking, European-ish. That's why. It's a really stupid answer, I know, like in my head, but that's just what I think. Cause like I think like it's like set in like a European themed like medieval vibe or Middle Ages vibe. The shamanism stuff just seems like it's. I mean, like to be fair, it's a fantasy fucking game. We can do whatever we want with it, but like at the same time, there's kind of a thing like we have knights in armor. We don't have, you know, knights in armor and bows and arrows and magic, but wearing blue robes, stabs, rather than like I don't know, samurai, ninjas. Like different aesthetic to it, which I mean, nothing wrong with that. We can add whatever we want to the game, and dragons and stuff, which like there are dragons in other cultures, but like dragons we have are like distinctly European style dragons. I'm not trying to argue like into some sort of like I'm not trying to make some like weird. We do whatever we want with the game. I'm just saying from a consistent aesthetic standpoint, we seem to be going off a particular. Well, I mean, now that I think about it, I could be. I'm talking completely out of my ass when I think about it. Like, I don't think so. I like to be honest. I think the general aesthetic of the game is to be like this type of like medieval fantasy type, right? Dungeons and Dragony, maybe more so now that I think about it. But so like, I'm not against this. It's just it feels a little bit strange. That being said, people are going to be like, oh, but what about is it the Gaelics? What's the people that the culture that existed? Is it the Celtics? I don't remember exactly who they are. It's like the German ancestry, Anglo-Saxon ancestry, their ancestry. They had shamans and like druids. That's where druids were like a big thing. Like that I could be more in favor of. I don't know. Maybe no, I don't know. I don't know why I have this weird bias. You know what? It's a stupid criticism. Ignore it. It's just I don't know. It has a weird feeling to me. I think there's a lot you can do with it though. But I think like the way it's gonna operate though, the primary benefit that this offers is enhancements to combat and skilling things, which is kind of nice. I don't really 100% like the way that they're explaining that you train it, and they're acting as if it's like a big point to the skill, that it's very like no bank standing. I don't care. That's not a pro to me. That's not a pro at all. That's actually more of a con that you don't have that option. If people want to sit and fucking blow glass bulbs for 8 hours, or sit in the GE high alch stuff or plank make, so be it. Who cares? You know what I mean? That's my opinion. Rather than barrage, like who cares? You know? The other thing to me is that's nice. But when I think about sailing, the thing that's making me like sailing, it's new things to do, whereas shamanism is enhancements on already existing content. That being said, they did mention the fact that there is the shaman world, the spirit world that you can go into, which is interesting. I like that concept, that there might be interesting, unique things to do in the spirit world, but I don't feel like that's a major. Well, maybe it is. Maybe it's a major appeal. There's a lot that goes into it. That's the thing I'm kind of interested in. That's really interesting. I like shamanism a lot now that I think about it. The more and more I think about shamanism, the more and more I enjoy it. The more and more appeal I see. I don't know. It's growing on me. I'm still in favor of sailing. I think the fact that it's a meme that it's survived its way this long is just really appealing. I do think there was a lot you can do. Like when you talk about, oh, you can get temporary buffs or not temporary buffs, you could do that shit with sailing. Like you find some ancient Nautilus crystal or some shit at the bottom of the ocean that gives you mystical powers. You can do all that same shit, and I think it would be cool as fuck. You can go to new islands, fight new bosses. There's a lot of really cool things you can do. There's new transportation options around the world. Other types of fighting. You can fight on cannons. There's a lot you can do with sailing that I really, really enjoy. But it's going to be hard to nail it, I think, perfectly. Shamanism, some cool stuff in it. I think there's some really, really cool conceptual stuff in it. But I don't know if I'm married to the idea yet. I'm not over the moon about it, but there's some cool stuff. I do like the idea of the spirit world. That idea is cool. The only thing I don't like about it, there's a couple things I don't like about it. Excuse me 1 second. big sneeze. Anyways, the thing I don't like the most about shamanism is purely the name I'm not a huge fan of, but that's I'll get over that. The gameplay loop, I don't like the way that they're talking about training it, trying to get rid of options. That's something I don't like. I just really want new content. I like new content. Refining existing and old content is sometimes good, but also not always the most important thing to me. It's got a lot to it. You know what? It's a pretty good one. I think I'd be happy with either sailing or shamanism the more and more I think about it. I'd be happy with either. Taming, I'm going to be honest with you, taming isn't as bad as people are making it out to be, but taming is just not as good as the other two. The other two are just way better. Sailing has so much to offer. Same with shamanism. I really like the idea of shamanism. As I've been thinking about it more and more, I've come to be more of the opinion that I think shamanism is pretty solid. Sailing has a lot of options as well, which is cool. The problem with sailing in this video is it's put right in the fucking middle, which, if you have any knowledge about psychology, primacy, recency effects, alright? If you want people to remember something, put it either at the beginning or the end of the video, not the middle. The middle's the part everybody fucking forgets. So, they should put taming in the middle. But sailing is a cool concept. I really like the two of them. I think there's a lot, it depends how much, because here's the problem I also am worried about, right? With a skill, I'm assuming if you have to dedicate, like let's say we have a certain number of hours we can dedicate towards creating something. What I want from a skill, the primary thing I want from a skill is to be doing new things. I want new things. That's what I would like in the game. I want new content to explore. That's the thing I value the most in the game over anything else, right? New content. Content, in my mind, is not, I train for 100 hours to get a new buff to my weapons. That's not content to me. That's a buff to existing gears. I don't care that much. I like new things I can use, and new places to go to, and new activities to do. Shamanism is, you get new activity, but that's every skill is going to give you a new activity, so that doesn't really make it much better or worse in any other way. The spirit world is new content that I really like. The buffs are cool, but not incredible to me. Like, they're kind of nice and shit, whatever. But the spirit world's the interesting thing about shamanism that I really like. Sailing, I perceive as being, the vast majority of it is introducing new content. Like, new things to go do, new activities, new places to go. It needs to be a shit ton of stuff to do with it. And there's a lot of room for expansion on it. Shamanism, I think, is also, there's a lot of room for expansion, too, to be completely fair. So, I like both of those concepts a lot. I still sit more on line with the idea of sailing being a more enjoyable concept to me. So I am more in favor of sailing right now, but shamanism is like a second vote, and it's like very closely tied. Like, I think I'm sailing 55% shamanism, or maybe sailing 50-60% shamanism, 40%. Taming is 0. I just think compared to the other options, I wouldn't want taming as an option, period. I swear, if taming does well because of the fucking Pokemon families, I'm gonna be so pissed. Genuinely.
Such as how intensive it is, and how many different training methods we should include. So, whether you simply want to train another gathering-like skill,
Oops.
whether you're excited about the prospect of enhancing your own equipment,
I'm not, actually.
or you're just interested in exploring the powers of nature and the spirit realm,
I'm not.
in the upcoming poll, vote yes to shamanism.
I feel like there's like a type of people that like certain types of skills, and like the drive, like, oh, I like this skill. Like, because, like, I'll be honest, that's kind of like why I got into rune crafting. Why I liked rune crafting was because, like, as an individual, I'm very like interested in research and like science. I really like that type of stuff, the scholarly type. I see myself in that kind of role as a person. So rune crafting kind of fits into that scholarly type of person, and like academic type of person. So I like the skill. I was gravitated towards it because I like that aesthetic. I think shamanism does that same thing, but like, kind of like how being in forestry appeals to the lumberjack aesthetic, I think. Like the woods and outdoorsman kind of aesthetic, where you're not really into the mystical powers of healing of nature, but you just like living, like camping and going to the woods and cutting down trees and building log cabins. Shamanism is more about like tarot card aesthetic and like divination type shit, which nothing is wrong with that. Like, that's a cool thing to be into. Or like meditation, which I like meditation, but I'm not the big spiritual type of meditator type of guy. It's appealing to some ways, but it just feels very, I don't know, not for me. But I'll train it regardless, and I think it's got cool concepts, and it could be enjoyable, right? But it's just not my aesthetic. Sailing, I feel like it's a cool aesthetic, and I like sailing a lot. So that's my particular opinion, and that's where I'm at so far. So this is the different phases. We're in top level skills concepts. Take one skill and refine it further. Fine tune the skill and the concept. Yeah. Community consultation. Blah blah blah. Also, you're in some sort of utility. The third is a mix between production and gathering, which is the shamanism. 2 of the 3 pitches will be utility. Okay, cool. Combat. That was polarizing. I agree. I think having a combat skill would fucking suck. It would really be bizarre. And what would you even? Can I be honest? What would you even do for combat? Like, I can't even think about what you would do. Like, every game I think of, magic, range, and melee are the only 3 options. What would be the 4th? Trap setting? I don't even know. Okay, anyways. Summoning is like the most obvious option, to be honest with you, for combat. For a 3rd combat skill. Or for a 4th combat skill, sorry. Combat style. Summoning. Anyways. Unsurprisingly, you also want a new skill to integrate with your existing ones. Yep, that's a very strong old school theme. New areas with your new skill. Another company was desired to explore new areas. That's why they introduced the spirit world. Okay, that's cool. I agree. That's a cool idea. Design-wise, a skill doesn't have a strong presence. If a skill doesn't have a strong design-wise, if a new skill doesn't have a strong presence in existing areas, which is true, it can feel a bit too similar to a mini-game. Yes, 100% true. That's why Dungeoneering felt like a fucking mini-game. So we made sure that each concept has a good presence in both old and new places. True. Surprisingly, here's an interesting concept. If sailing took place in the ocean between areas, that would feel like it's existing in existing areas. But even though it's not, technically, because we've never been to those areas in the game before. Because we've never been to the physical location between areas, like in the ocean. But it's in the map, so it feels more natural to me. But whatever. Anyways, you want them to integrate your existing skills, which is a good idea. I think it's required. If it's completely independent of other skills, it's stupid. Although you don't think the train should be locked behind other skill requirements. I agree. All 3 of our pitches include multiple option train methods, so there's a lot of integration to be had. Gameplay-wise, you'd be indicating you wouldn't be happy skill was buyable. And I would say it has a benefit, but more of a nice-to-have than a new feature. The trouble here is the good things are largely dependent on having buyables. So any skill with an item sync would naturally be buyable. Interesting. I should have been reading this rather than doing the other shit. Rather than watching the video. Because I took like an hour for the video, and this like for the fucking blog now. I'm gonna have to condense this down. I might even just cut out the entire video section. We'll see. I'm sure once I condense it down, it'll be like 45 minutes of the video and like 20 minutes or so. Another common thing was to design, start to explore an area. We already did that. Blah blah. Viable. An item sync was a benefit. So if the thing had an item sync, which is you can like kind of like an innovate. So in RuneScape 3 you have innovation or invention. I think it's invention, where to get things to buff your gear, you have to break down existing gear, which is an item sync. So if there was a bunch of dragon scimitars in the game, break down dragon scimitars, which would then reduce the amount of dragon scimitars in the game, increasing the value of the dragon scimitar. That's kind of the idea, which is cool. I like that. I think that's sometimes a nice idea. But more of a nice to have than a needed feature. The trouble here is that good item syncs are largely dependent on having buyables. Yeah, if you can't buy items to then later sell, to then later use the skill, it's not an item sync. Like, if you have to get everything yourself, I get a dragon scimitar to then break down to use for something. That's not a fucking item sync. You've created the item, then got rid of it. You've done nothing. So, I think they're just calling out how that doesn't make any fucking sense. But at the same time, I think that you can get results like it's not saying that every person that voted in general for item sync, but buyable. I think it's that people probably voted different degrees, but most people voted for these 2 options on average. Our third solution to this problem incorporate the item sync into reward space rather than the training method. I'm curious what that means. I'll have to see what they mean by that. You asked what kind of wild unique animals you are animal companions and boats. Of course. In line with this, you said you'd like a religion skill to have nature or magical theme. To have a nature or magical theme. You spent a lot of time trying to move the ideas and patience come to the scene without coming too close to existing magic skill. I think that given these demands, they did a great job. Like, this is just, the old school team is just so fucking creative. I mean, shamanism is just a really cool idea the more and more I think about it and how innovative it is. It took a little bit of time to grow on me, but I'm starting to like it more and more. Polar training methods include soloable AFK and also a must-have feature across the board for new skill. Training methods was a must-have feature. Yep. Oh. New portion of the survey asks on existing skills from Skip 3 from we've previously pulled. So like something engineering. It turns out these skills had some mixed responses. Rest assured, we dug into the feedback and we have a good understand why these skills particularly aren't the best in the previous iterations. Plus, we've applied those learnings to our skill pitches, so it's a win-win. When asked if you'd like us to go another go at proposed skills one step far above the rest, you can guess which one. Nonetheless, we're aware that our previous skill proposals come with all the baggage. There's overwhelming support for this skill, so please keep in mind, read the pitch carefully, and vote. So you're seeing the first time. Yeah, I think that's true. I think the other elephant in the room that needs to be talked about is the fact that sailing is probably going to have a lot of nostalgia and appeal behind it. But truthfully speaking, you can't just vote for it blindly. It's the idea we're presenting here says, oh, blah. No, I'm the rest of this. Okay. Well, there are explorers setting foot on unexplored territory. Fishermen open for a monster catch, a pirate looking to seek every ship in sight, or even a courier to learn about medicine for everybody. Or play, navigate to a port, obtain a ship, engage in fun activities at sea. I don't know if I like this. Get to a port somehow, then you get a ship from that port, and then you do it. Can't you just like own a ship? Why not just own a ship? Your sailing will allows you to explore more dangerous and exciting areas. To get started on your sailing journey, you'll need to make your way to the port. Luckily, we have loads of these in game already. Option choose. Hire one, purchase one, steal one, or build one from scratch. The quality ship will impact how far you'll be able to sail and how you'll fare at sea. Oh, okay, that's not too bad. Alright, once you've obtained your ship, you can set sail. I think the idea of just having to get a new ship each time is kind of bizarre. It doesn't feel weird. It feels kind of weird. Why do you gotta get a new axe? Or, I mean, I don't know, maybe that's a bit of a disanalogous thing. But it just feels bizarre to me. It feels like it would make more sense to just have a ship that you own and you could upgrade one. You know what I mean? That's kind of my logic. But we'll see. There's views feeling as a meme due to the historical baggage of the community. Yep, true. It is a meme. Because we completely redesigned the skill sharing method will ensure that the majority actually comes from enjoyable seafaring activities, not building boats. Yeah, it's just construction. We also aware that we don't want to see a time-gated copy. Yeah, that's kind of a time-gated content is just fucking stupid. Like, it's just dumb. I have never liked time-gated content in any game ever. It's like one of the prime reasons why I don't play Animal Crossing. Like, Animal Crossing to me is just not a very... I'm coming out on blast. I'm letting everybody know what my opinions are. There's some games I like and some games I don't like. Animal Crossing is an example. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. You can like Animal Crossing. I don't have anything against Animal Crossing, and I think people that play Animal Crossing, they're just lower IQ. They can't help it, though. That's the problem, right? They're just born that way. But the point is, in Animal Crossing, I just don't like... No, I'm just fucking... The point with Animal Crossing is that I just don't like time-gated shit. And I've asked people about it, and their opinion is like, oh, well, you just, you do other stuff in the game. It's like, I don't want to. Like, I want to do what I want to do in the game. I don't want to have to be fucking forced to go do other shit because the game is deciding for me to do that. It feels very bad when I play a game like that. That's my personal opinion. So, but do whatever you want. Anyways. So what can you do at sea? We plan for seaborne activities to make up the bulk of your sailing training and also makes it the most of your reward space for the skill. Where's my water bottle? I'm like dehydrated right now. You can tell. Okay, we'd like to focus on navigating as a core mechanic. This will be a huge part of the skill, so it's important that it feels natural current to move. See, I agree. You need to figure something. To a few options like unique pathfinding, algorithm, keep tree controls, or having special navigating interfaces is one of the focus on to refinement. Yeah, this will be a really good. They really need to figure this out. It's critical. But navigating would be a bit boring if the sea maintains its current copy pasted so that it will... Yeah, cool. If they can do this well so that I can see like coral reefs and stuff, that'd be really cool. I think that would fix it a lot. Make it really enjoyable, or have islands and stuff stick out of the water and whatnot, or waves and shit. That, I mean, say what you want. I just have a lot of faith these people are going to figure it out. They're not stupid. I think the old school team has proven time and time again with every piece of content they make, they are remarkably talented and skilled. Like, look at Raids 3 and look at just the raids in general. All the raids are just incredibly well done, even though I've never played them and just watched videos of them. Like, almost everything, a piece of new content, like in the past, like, I don't even know how many years, has just been a fucking, like, 10, it's been like a fucking 8 out of 10 or better. I just, whatever they're going to do, this seems complicated. Like, I can't think of a way to do it. They're going to figure it. They'll be fine. I have so much faith in them. I have more faith in them than any religious deity, because, well, to be fair, I'm an atheist, so it doesn't really matter. But the point is, yeah, no, I have a lot of faith in them. But now going to be blah, 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 yeah. Okay, storms would be cool, too. We don't like the idea of giving you passive XP for navigating around aimlessly. I agree. I think that's boring. You don't train agility by walking. Instead, we plan to introduce a variety of XPs you can take place in. Yes, bread and butter of the skill, which means you'll be earning a vast majority of XP. Yeah. Goes deep sea fishing, navigating hunting elusive sea creatures, navigational challenges where you navigate. Yep. Delivering packages from A to B, uncovering new islands to explore. I like this idea too, because this is lots of new stuff to explore in all of these. One thing I haven't heard them talk about, which they should talk about, is using the diving apparatus. I feel like there's just so much opportunity to use the diving apparatus to do a lot of stuff. Lastly, we'll throw in some passive gameplay and things alongside training the skill that will give you small amounts of XP, such as recording your adventure in the captain's log or dealing with a random encounter, just like the rest of the world. So use a life full of danger, be on the lookout for bad weather, strange creatures. Reward space. The intrinsic motivation for training the skill, getting access to big, awesome boat exploring the ocean is the majority part of how you'll train it. You can explore new areas too. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Bigger and more awesome boats will of course get you to access more content, so we'll be adding monumental to do, including new islands, explore, bespoke training methods, and activities, and to try. It'll also customize your ship off. Blah blah. Yeah, true. Like it. Love it. Taming. Like I said. I love he's got the chin chop. That's kind of. There's just a lot you can do with taming. No, it's entirely different. Long as just me. Love the nice job, guys. We've looked into what you don't label. Somebody made sure to change it. Not kind of charms. Yeah, mixing the kind of charm system. Charms fucking sucked. It was so stupid. The core loop of training is in fact very similar to Ring. So, yep. They're nothing but temporary tools. Entertaining your hands are permanent product of your efforts. Like, truthfully, I'm just gonna get a dragon and keep that shit. I don't care about the making. I don't care, dude. Maybe I'm just a sociopath when it comes to animals. I just don't give a fuck. I just want the best animal. I'm just gonna use the best animal the whole time. Oh, okay. Domesticate creature in the open world. Care for it by providing food, a home, enriching environment activities, training. Yeah, I don't know. I'm becoming less interested in this skill as the more I read it. It does seem like it's a bit of the least interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see about that one. Community consultation revealed that you had a strong desire for skill that enhanced 15 items as part of the reward space, combining elements of magic and nature we took from the learnings. Oh. If this can be done by, like, making bound equipment, for instance, like, I buy a Bando's chestplate off the GE, I shamanize it, now it's bound to me. It can't be used at all by anyone else. That could be okay to me. That could be okay to me as a way to do it. As a way to, like, you know, item sync items. Okay. I don't know if that's what they're gonna do, but that's my thought process. All right. Yeah. We imagine the most of gatherings would be untradeable, being viable, which community. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, the end of the community is being stupid here. I don't think it really matters. I don't fucking care. I just don't care if somebody wants to go and fucking gather 1 billion mushrooms and sell them for like 200 GP each. I just don't think it's that big of a deal, personally. But here's where it all comes together. Bring your components and combine them into powerful new ritual circles. You can create ritual circle anywhere in the world, just like fires are used for cooking. Ritual circles are used for shamanism, much like fires that can be drawn most outdoor areas. Be able to produce new items like tikis, poultices. What the fuck is a poultice? What in the fuck is this? Soft, moist mass, often heated and medicated, and spread in a cloth and placed on the skin. Oh, okay, that's kind of a concept. Spirit realm is an alternative reality populated by spirits. Skill shamans can tap into the power of this realm and use it to power their abilities. Disturbed states are places where the veil between Gielinor and the spirit realm is especially thin. You already know you can find spiritual components here, but there's something even more exciting. You can use disturbed states to cross over the field and explore this new, mysterious new area. This is what I like the most. I like the idea that they're adding new stuff. Like I said, I'm a big content Andy, a content junkie. You give me more content, I'm happier. More stuff I can do. And do it does not mean enhance. They're not the same thing. They're not the same thing. Stuff I can do to enhance and improve the quality and abilities of my existing gear. 1 second. Fuck me, dude. I don't know. It's like some shit. Someone sprayed pepper in my room or something. I don't know what's going on. Alright. Spirit realm is a mirror of the Gielinor that you know and love. It's subtly different. Locked behind our door might be open. Locked door in our world might be open to the spirit realm, or vice versa. Mysterious shamanism. You know what would be really cool? If you used existing areas that we know about to do this. Like, what if we had... I just thought another idea, by the way, for sailing. I'll talk about it after. What if we had abyss shamanism as well? That you can go into the abyss and find cool stuff in the abyss. That'd be really fucking cool. Thing I was thinking about. So you guys know that in Guardians of the Rift, you know that for Temple of the Eye and Guardians of the Rift, that happens underneath the water near Mauritania. Right? Like that whole area is like underneath the waves. That's why it looks so corally and stuff and looks so seafaring, sea-like. What if you could do that within sailing? You could uncover these ancient, like, was it the 3rd age or 4th age that they had that stuff? Ancient age ruins where you can go and explore these things near Mauritania. That'd be fucking cool as shit. Hire me. No, Jagex. Yeah, but like, no, that'd be a cool concept, I think. But we'll see. It's a mirror of Gielinor. I don't like that. I mean, maybe isn't it? It's totally different. Locked door in the world might be open to spirit realm. There's pros and cons to that. I don't want it to just be like an upside down. I want it to be, or like that. I want it to be like a mixture of these cool areas and stuff, you know? They showed an image that I thought was a really cool, which was, they showed, like, a regular, like, pathway grass to, like, a watery, like, area. I thought that was, like, it'd be nice to have mixtures of areas, like, new areas, but, you know, we'll see. Unless you navigate the game world by jumping between the two, unlocking new paths and revealing secrets. We don't know what the spirit realm will look like at this early stage. Shaman has moved to the primate stage. Yeah, it just feels bizarre. Okay, but it's a cool skill, though. I think purpose on it is the ability to create potential magic. But potent magic, poultices, wards, oils, incense, salves, idols, relics, tikis, totems are all on the table. We won't decide. We won't decide the exact effects until the refinement stage. We're aiming at these rewards to provide valuable utility. Like, a thing that could be really cool is if you drop a totem or a tiki, right? That could heal you over time. Prevent you from taking poison damage. Like, bro, what if you could drop a totem that prevents you from taking poison damage, and then if you're venomed, reduce it down to poison? And you could drop that shit in the Zora fight, and then, like, you could just stand in the fucking clouds and take 0 damage. Or something like that. That'd be a fucking cool thing. Or what if you could do something that you can put it down to protect you from environmental hazards? You have like a one-time use. You're in fucking Ulm or Zebek or Galvik, and the fucking waves are coming, and you just drop that shit quickly, and it destroys the waves so you stay alive. Wouldn't that be cool? Like, I think you could do so many cool things with this. Like, I think there's so much you could do that's really cool. Oh my god, am I starting to like shamanism? Am I starting to become a shamanism fan? I don't know. Some cool concepts for what you can do. Like I imagine tikis or totems having area of effect abilities, or maybe just other stuff. Like you can just like you can drop it and it heals people. Like it like speeds up the regeneration rate of your character by like 5 or 6 times, or maybe it can heal everybody. Like if you step in it and stand in it for like 4 or 5 ticks, you get 10 HP or some shit. But you can only has a maximum 50 HP, and anybody on your team can use it. So like in the middle of fights, people can like run into it to get HP, and then like leave. That could be so cool. There's so many cool things you can do with that type of idea. Oils can give you temporary buffs, like to protect you from dragon fire. And you might be going like, well, why would I want to use that when I already have a dragon fire potion? It's like new option available to you, buddy. That's the reason why. Because sometimes you're not gonna want to drink the potions. Maybe you can provide more specific effects because you can only have one oil applied at a time. So, whereas your character can get fucking roided out drinking a fucking divine super combat, a divine, there's no divine super range, the bastion potion, and then like fucking breathing in the fumes from some corrupted insane heart or imbued heart. At the same time, you get, and those can give you a bonus of what, 15% or 20%, I believe. I think it's 20%, but I could be wrong. I think it's a 20 or 25% bonus. You can get this oil that you can put on, which gives you a, well, it might have to be balanced because we already have potions in the game, so maybe it's only a 10% bonus. But you can have that, but you can only have one equipped at a time. So that it's like a temporary, but you can only have one of them because your body can only lather up so much oil. You know, like I don't know, like just there's a lot of interesting ideas for how we can apply stuff to our characters that are pretty cool here. The reason why I want new content as well, though, is because, like, can I be honest with you? I got the BOFA yesterday. I've been trying out a bunch of different content, which, by the way, I'm still fucking pumped out of my mind about. What a cool item. And the problem with the BOFA is that, like, now all the fucking content in the game, like, it's just pretty easy. Like, I haven't done raids really that much. But, like, most of the content is just, like, eh. Not stupid easy. It's obviously hard still. I'm not trying to say it's like stupidly easy or anything or a joke, but like I don't know. Like as I sit here playing the content in the game, I'm just sitting here like, okay, like this is it. Like I don't know. Like we're gonna buff our characters even more. Like we already like think about it this way. There are some drops in this game that are like a 1 in 512 drop chance, which means you need to kill the boss 512 times. If you're killing the boss 512 times, the boss is not hard. Does that make sense? We're going to make our characters even stronger is kind of bizarre. I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like that idea. So that's why I'm a little hesitant. But I think there's a lot of cool ideas in here that can really provide innovative strategies, especially for people with lower weapons. You're gonna have people with lower gear going into raids. Obviously, they'll never be able to get a fucking raid in their lives because nobody wants to raid with somebody who has a rune crossbow. But like, you know, it's a cool concept. I think there's cool concepts. I mean, how they're gonna use totems and tikis is really interesting. Or quirky magic, but I think I stand by my idea of dropping down totems to have effects. I think it's a cool idea. Oils maybe they're going to use one of them. Enhancing magical items. I don't see how they explained how this is going to be an item sync for reward space in the reward space. I don't see how that's going to take items out of the game. Reward space. I think they need to make it like if you're going to try to take items out of the reward space, you got to use like bound items and stuff. Which if you haven't played other MMOs, you get some items in the game are really good. You literally can only that item cannot be. It's bound to you. That it can only be used by you. Nobody else can use it. That can happen sometimes. Okay. Yeah, I'm pro shamanism. I think that. Damn, this is a tough one. I think I like the concept of shamanism and the way it's going to complex and make combat more complex and interesting. But I also like sailing a lot. Fuck, that's tough. I like both a lot. I don't know. The more and more I started off this video kind of being like, I'm really lukewarm on shamanism. To now I'm like genuinely thinking I might like it even more over sailing. Sailing's cool though. Like, that's the problem. I don't fucking know. Both are good. We generally can't predict the outcome at the poll at this stage, and even internally we can't decide on our favorite skill, so it's anyone's guess. Only thoughts of the pitch that can buy. There's just a lot you can do with shamanism. Like, a lot you can do. But sailing as well. You can do a lot with fucking sailing. That's the thing. Anyways, okay. Questions. Or so these are... Okay. After reading the new skill potions, which concept for a new skill and old skill would you be happy to see refined further? I didn't like any of them. Which new skill is your favorite? Juby. I don't select all that apply. Oh yeah, sailing and shamanism. Which one is your favorite? That's gonna be a tough one. Yeah, I think so. On April 4th. It's this one. Sure, I'll do this. I don't know if I'm gonna record the whole thing. Alright. Cool. Alright. That's that. I'm gonna get off. I've been recording this for about 2 hours. I need to get off and fucking edit this and then upload it. And I'm also starving. So I'm gonna go get something to eat. I'm gonna get out of here. Yeah. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Or don't. I mean, I don't care. You can just dislike the video if you want to as well. Let me know if you agree with any of my opinions or you disagree with them. I'd really be curious to hear people say. I think I covered pretty much everything. I gave my opinion. I think I'm... Yeah, I mean, I would be happy with whatever skill. At the end of the day, I'd be happy with whatever skill comes out. I think that taming I'd be the least happy with. But I think that I have a lot of faith that they'd make it pretty interesting in some way. But I think that sailing and shamanism are just the best options by far right now over taming. So I kind of agree with people on that. Shamanism, I didn't like it at first, but it grew on me. The more and more that I thought of it. Now, the problem I have is that I just really hope that I had some interesting ideas for it. I really hope that there's some extent to them. There's something interesting about them. I really hope that they do something interesting with shamanism rather than just we're going to buff melee gear. Oh, there's one more thing. Fuck, I should have asked. Fuck, I forgot to ask how it was going to be an item sync. We'll see. Whatever. Anyways, I think that it's cool. I like shamanism. I think there's a lot of options for it. It's grown on me as I've thought about it more, and I think it's a pretty cool option. Sailing, it exists in my heart. It's my one and only true love. It's my beloved as far as skills go. There's a lot you can do with sailing, a lot of real things to discover. I think it's cool to have a spirit world area, but I think that just when I think about how much can be added with sailing, shamanism as well can add a lot. But a lot, I think, like, where we're gonna have bosses in shamanism. Maybe we could have bosses with sailing. We could also have a raid with sailing too. Think about it. Potential island we have to go to, or we go under the water and fight stuff. That'd be really. I am. Maybe we just recall it seafaring. But that might sound kind of crappy. I don't know. I'm really excited for everything, regardless. So I'm excited to see what happens on April 4th on the call. Thanks everybody, and have a great day.